Alright, looking at our games, like normal, we have games Thursday through Sunday. We got a bajillion games every week, which is awesome. And starting off the week, we have Fanatic versus Justice. So Fanatic having a hard season. Justice considered one of the lower teams in Europe, but they've been playing better lately, whether that's due to practice or management or whatever. They've been on the up and up. Fanatic's kind of, they're shaky. They're losing games they shouldn't be losing still. I'm actually giving this one a split for Fanatic and Justice. Like I said, Fanatic been shaky so far. Justice playing pretty decent lately. They've been, playing up to their competition. Still not finding as many wins as they would like, but not doing the worst. But that game is also incredibly important for Fnatic. If they don't win that series 2-0, they're going to have a difficult time coming back up, I think, honestly, and making it to the LAN against the other teams. What the? Azure? Azure just donated $20 out of nowhere because he felt like it. Thank you for the donation, Azure. I appreciate it. Everybody giving that flex in chat. Thank you so much. Next up, we got Cloud9 G2A versus Elevate. That's Cloud9 all the way 2-0. Cloud9 score not currently reflective of how strong the team is. Cloud9 losing 4 games last week, all because of disconnects from Andy. The first 2 games, they got into the games and then disconnected. The latter half being against Eager, and neither game was played because Andy couldn't even connect due to DDoS. So Cloud9 was forced to forfeit both games because they could not field a roster, unfortunately. Next up on our little schedule here, we got London Conspiracy and Titan. Titan should take this no problem 2-0. Titan looking to be top 3 in Europe. Top 3 in Europe looking to be Epsilon, Paradigm, and Titan in any given order, it seems, with the 4th slot up for contention. In first place, probably going to Titan. Big Pim, what? Please. London Conspiracy not doing so bad. London Conspiracy fighting for this 4th place slot right now. Hovering around that mid-range pack where they could get that 4th place slot and go to the LAN. They could fall out of it depending on how they do. They haven't played Titan yet. That's one of their harder games, give or take. But Titan should take it 2-0, assuming everything stays normal. Next up, we have Eager versus AFK Gaming Arena. This will be an interesting game. AFK and Eager are scrim partners, so they do know each other's strategies. They have not played each other this week, as most teams do not. Scrim partners typically still do not scrim each other during the week that they play. It's just a good way to avoid anger, stuff like that. You don't want to get angry at your scrim partner because it's not healthy, right? So this on paper looking like it's going 2-0 the way of AFK Gaming. If AFK loses a game this first half of the 10 weeks, this being the last week, of course, AFK Gaming plays twice this week. If they lose a game this week, it's going to be to Eager, but I've got it going 2-0 for AFK. But if there's going to be a split for AFK, it's going to be the Eager match, due to the fact that they're scrim partners and they know their strategies. First up on Saturday. Saturday is our big SPL, first big SPL day. Fnatic and Paradigm. So this is a very important game. Paradigm right now, 2nd seeded in Europe. Started off the season poorly, like I've said, and then did the Paradigm thing where they just win all the games for the rest of forever. Typically, this, like last season, I would have had this going split or even Fnatic, but Paradigm playing very strong, showing that they want to make Worlds. They don't want to be messing around not playing at Worlds. They want to be on the big stage. They don't want it to be Fnatic and Titan this time around. They want it to be them. I've got this going 2-0 the way of Paradigm over Fnatic. They've been playing stellar lately, comparatively to Fnatic has been playing very schmeh. Justice and Myrmidons. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. Actually going to be a great game. Going to be fairly close here. Justice, like I said, they've been playing pretty strong lately. Myrmidons, on the other hand, started the season really strong, and then they've been really shaky ever since the start of the season. They've had a lot of unfortunate disconnect timings, forfeiting of games because they couldn't field a roster due to internet problems. They've had a lot of issues this split. I still think they're a good team. It's just a matter of, can they even get their roster online at the correct time to play and not disconnect? I've got this going the way of a split. I think both of these teams are around the same skill level, and if they both show up, they should split. The game of the week that I'm personally the most excited for is Cloud9 versus TSM. I think this is an awesome matchup. This has always been a friendly rivalry. Oh, no. This has always been a friendly rivalry between them. Cloud9 and TSM have been scrim partners since they were COG Prime and COG Red, since the dawn of time, really, of Smite. They've both had some roster changes. You know, this season, Cloud9 losing Omega, picking up Baskin Robin. TSM switching around half their roster to different roles, plus putting in Jigs and taking out Boosh. Both these teams, Cloud9 in particular having a hard season, way harder than it should have been because of the disconnects due to the unfortunate situation. TSM playing strong, dropping a couple games that I don't think they planned on losing, but they haven't done that since they replaced Boosh. This one could go split, but the way I see it going down is, I'm giving it 2 to TSM. This is the hardest match of the week for me to pick. I think this could go 2 Cloud9, split, or 2 TSM. This is like the hardest match of the week. I'm giving it 2 to TSM based on their play style. I think TSM, even with the new roster, even with the changes, I think they have a lot of synergy coming in. I think they have a lot of confidence coming in right now. I think Cloud9 coming off all of those disconnect losses will come out wanting to prove something like, hey, we're still a top 4 team in NA. We're still going to be going to the LAN. But I think TSM is like, nah, we want to put Cloud9 away. We want to guarantee our top 4 spot, and we want to be putting them at the bottom. So that's going to be the craziest matchup. If you're not going to get to watch any games this week, except for one, watch the Cloud9 TSM game. I can only imagine it's going to be hype, dude. Like I said, scrim partner games are always good. AFK versus Eager should be great. Scrim partner games are always good. Team Elevate versus Cognitive Gaming. I think it's pretty straightforward here. Elevate, the weakest team in NA, did get their first win last week with a win over Denial. Denial, one of the middle of the pack teams, fighting for that 4th place slot, along with COG and Eager. COG, on the other hand, playing very strong, getting 2 wins over Cloud9 most recently because of the Andister DCs. Cloud9 was winning both of those games before Andy DC'd. Andy DC'd. Cognitive won both of those games. Regardless, COG got the 2 Ws, which is all that really matters, and so they will be moving on, and they should get another 2 Ws against Elevate, putting them in a pretty good spot, looking for that 3rd, 4th place slot going into the next half of the split. Titan and Epsilon Gaming. If you can only watch one game from Europe, the game you want to watch is on Sunday. It's Titan versus Epsilon. It's going to start off your day. Okay? One game NA, Cloud9 TSM. One game EU, Titan Epsilon. This game is going to be the dream game. Epsilon, undefeated, European badasses. Titan, the Cinderella story team. We're consistent team. Our team fights are amazing. Epsilon, like, we're adapting. Adapting kills things. We follow up on adapting. This game, I told myself, so I honestly think it might go split. I think this is the game that Epsilon loses. A game. They won't lose both, I don't think. I think this is the game Epsilon finally loses, but I told myself earlier in the season, when I voted against Epsilon, I said, never, ever again will I vote against Epsilon because it's just dumb. So I'm giving this 2-0 to Epsilon because I'm sticking to my word. I'm not voting against Epsilon. I said I wouldn't do it, and I ain't going to do it. But I really think this might go split. I think this is where they drop their one game. But I ain't voting against them, so I ain't doing it. I may think it's going to happen, but I ain't even going to vote that way because I said I won't, and I ain't. Also, Titan and Epsilon are Scrim partners. Throwing that out there. It's the Scrim Partner Battle Arena Week. London Conspiracy, Team Dignitas. Dig is bottom 2 realistically in Europe right now with Justice. I think Dig might even end up on the very bottom this split. They're not looking very strong. They're not playing very well. London Conspiracy vying for that 4th place slot. They've got a lot to prove here. London Conspiracy has to win both those games to keep their head in the race. Winning those games, though, will be important for them. Finishing up the week here for NA, we have AFK versus Denial Esports. Got this going the way of AFK Gaming. Like I said earlier, if they drop a game, it's probably going to be to Eager. Denial having a harder split than people expected. They really have an all-star roster. Shing, Shadowq, Mace to the Face, etc. They're just not finding their footing, dropping games to people they shouldn't be. They dropped a game last week to Elevate Gaming, the last place team in North America, who hadn't had a win yet. Performance like that, it seems to be Denial's syndrome, where they play up to their competition and they also play down to their competition, seems to be their issue. But I have that going two to the way of AFK. And the very last game of week 5, this first half of the split, is Eager versus Enemy. Important games for both of them, actually. Eager fresh off their wins from Cloud9 due to the disconnect. Enemy off losses to TSM. Pretty rough losses to TSM. This should go 2-0 the way of Eager if Eager plays their game, if Eager shows up. Enemy wants these wins to stay in the top 3. Eager wants these wins to get into the top 4. Eager and Enemy will have a huge flip-flop if Eager ends up winning these games. They might get close to being equal at that point going into the next split. But that seems to be our picks for this week. Wrapping up, we got Split, Cloud9, Titan, AFK Gaming, Paradigm, Split, TSM, COG, Epsilon, London Conspiracy, AFK, and Eager. And that, folks, is our video on